Imagine having a personal sales and marketing agent that worked for you 24/7. Today, I'm going to show you how to create a marketing funnel that does exactly that. Hey, I'm Ray Green. I'm a corporate refugee that used to run national small and mid-sized business for the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and turnarounds for private equity-backed companies. But I turned a digital nomad and entrepreneur building businesses from a remote Mexican beach. And today I'm going to share with you the 3 things that you need to have in your funnel to turn it into a sales and marketing system while you sleep. Let's dive in. Every business that's looking for great clients online needs a simple, effective marketing funnel. And I'll tell you why. A well-designed marketing funnel, like if you do it right, it's like having a sales and marketing person that is working for you full-time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they're incredibly consistent while you're doing other things like delivering great work for your clients. The problem is that I have seen in talking to a lot of entrepreneurs that are building online is that marketing funnels are really misunderstood. We tend to make them really complex unnecessarily, like they don't have to be that complicated. And a lot of times they just get intimidating to people that aren't familiar with the online marketing world, aren't familiar with the tech, aren't super tech savvy. And if they're new, that's what keeps them from like effectively marketing themselves online. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to break down the critical functions of a marketing funnel, identify like the key ingredients that you need to make it perform really well. And I'm going to share some examples of specific things that you can do to start building a pipeline of prospective clients right now. Cool? Now, there are basically 3 key functions that you want your marketing funnel to perform. And I'll share those 3, but I do want to tell you this. To start, it is really important that you keep simple front and center. Simple is the name of the game because a funnel gets really powerful when you have the ability to iterate over time, when you have the ability to optimize over time, because you have this data coming in, you can measure it, you can assess what's happening, you can make adjustments. And that's what makes it really powerful over time. But you can't do that if you make it overly complicated from the get-go. So as we go through this whole thing, keep in the back of your mind, how do I keep this shit simple, right? Now there's the 3 functions, the 3 categories that I think of when I'm looking at a funnel are there's new people coming into your ecosystem. There's nurturing the people that are in your ecosystem along through the journey. And then there's need, which means the people that are in your ecosystem, get to the bottom of the funnel and they want to buy your shit, right? So again, new, nurture, need. New people that are coming into your ecosystem for the first time. That's the first time they're downloading your guide. It's the first time they're signing up for your training. It's the first time that they're giving you their email or their information in exchange for some content that you have. There's nurture, which is once they're in your funnel, like we'll call this middle of funnel, moving them through the journey because they may not be ready to buy right now. And then need, when they are ready to buy, delivering them to your sales process in an effective way. Okay. Now we're going to start with new because that's arguably the most important role of your entire funnel. Because if you've got the best podcast on the planet to move people through the process, or you've got the best email newsletter to nurture people through the buying process, doesn't really matter if no one's coming into your funnel. Okay. So you've got to get new people into the funnel. And the first step in doing that is getting the attention of your target market. And for the sake of this video, I'm going to assume that you know who your target market is. You know who your ICP or your ideal client profile is. So assuming that you know that, you want to get their attention. And you can do that in one of 3 ways. And what I'll steal from Aaron Ross is you've got seeds, nets, spears. Seeds are going to be things that you are planting over time that may come to fruition later on down the road. Like maybe that's some word of mouth networking that you're doing. Maybe it's some referral stuff that you're doing. Maybe it's some social content or stuff that you're posting out that has a decent half-life and may come to maturity at some point down the road. Then you have nets. Nets are things that I think of like paid ads, anything where you're going to go to a really wide audience, knowing, fully expecting that just a small percentage of those people are going to indicate some interest and maybe take some action. And then spears is when you have really targeted outbound outreach to people that are in your target market, right? So there's different ways to generate traffic into your funnel to create attention, to get people there. And the funnel that you set up is basically responsible for capturing that attention. right? And bringing those people into your marketing ecosystem. You want them to opt in to something that says, yes, I will continue to engage with you and have a relationship with you. And the simplest, most effective way to do that is just have a dedicated page to send people to with a really targeted asset and some messaging that speaks directly to your ICP's problems, like the problems that they're dealing with, the facts, the things that they're, I've got low sales, I'm not saving enough money, I don't have the right mindset, whatever that is, the problems that they have, or the pains that those problems are causing, which are usually like the emotions. Like, so if I don't have enough sales, what's that mean to me? So problems, pains, and then mistakes, like the mistakes that they're making trying to solve this problem on their own without your help. Okay. So you have a landing page, you have an asset, you ask them to opt in for an asset that you've created that helps speak specifically to their problems, their pains, and the mistakes that they are making. On that page, you create basically an offer in exchange for their email. Their email is the currency that they're going to give you to pay for their stuff, right? If they want that asset, that free training, that ebook, that guide, that checklist, whatever it is that you've created that speaks specifically to your target market, they're going to pay for it in digital currency like an email address or a phone number. So you create an offer, you set it up, you set a landing page up, you make that really targeted messaging. They get to that page, they give you their email, they opt into your system, and they get something that is of value. Like, make sure that whatever it is that you're giving away has some legitimate value, because the last thing you want to do is start a relationship with bait and switch. Like, hey, I've got this great guide to help you get clients. You give me your email, it's some bullshit one pager that doesn't do anything, not going to actually help you get clients. Okay. But that's the top of the funnel, right? Like, that's something that's going to get new people into your system. Do you have a good dedicated landing page with targeted copy? Do you have an asset that people actually give a shit? Are they willing to pay for it with some digital currency like an email address or a phone number? And you set that up, that transaction happens. Now they have that asset. And within that asset, they now should have an introduction to who you are, some authority builders, some credibility builders, and some actual value from you, which also creates some reciprocation effect. Okay. So that's the first thing. Your funnel is bringing new people in. Now you've got new people in your system. Now the second thing that you want to do, now that you've worked really hard to get traffic to that page, to create that asset, to get them into your funnel, now what you want to do is you want to intentionally nurture them through the process and move them through the buying cycle. Everybody is not ready to buy as soon as they see your shit or as soon as they become aware of who you are. It takes time sometimes to move people along in that process. Maybe they need to see more social proof. Maybe they need some more education. Maybe they just need to trust you a little bit more, right? That's where the process of nurturing people through the funnel actually makes a big difference. Now, there's a couple of mistakes that I see people make a lot of times. And the first thing is, as soon as people get into their funnel, they start blasting them and hitting them with a bunch of buy my shit messages. Like, hey, you downloaded that guide. That must mean you're ready to give me $40,000 to buy my services. It doesn't. Okay. And then the second mistake is they send good content, like the goal of nurturing people through the process, that never asks people to buy your stuff. Okay. So it's like two extremes. People come into the funnel and some people go, buy my stuff. And then the other audience says, you know what, I'm going to continue to educate. I'm going to continue to build credibility and authority and add value. And I'm never going to ask. Okay. And it's important that your messaging falls between 1 and 2. Okay. It's on a continuum. Part of it depends on your process and your brand, your buying cycle, all of that. But it's usually not going to be the either extreme of those. Okay. Your goal in nurturing people is to educate your prospects about what you do. You want to establish some strong positioning that allows you to charge what you're worth, right? Like, you don't want to be commoditized. If you're going through this whole process, the last thing you want to do is end up in like commoditized, low pricing, race to the bottom type of work. And you want to present people with the opportunity to start the sales process when they're ready. Okay. Simple way to do this. First thing is bolt on a 3 email sequence that you set up for anybody that comes into the funnel. Okay. And you want that messaging in that email. You just want it to reinforce what it is the problems, the pains, the mistakes. You want it to reinforce those things from the landing page and that are relevant to the asset that they downloaded after they've given you the email. Okay. So a 3 email sequence that encourages them to take additional action, maybe book a call, take some other action. Okay. Now you have that set up to go out automatically every time somebody downloads your stuff. And that one can be a little bit more direct. Okay. Because they've just downloaded it. There's a recency bias. They may be like really experiencing the pains that are being caused from that problem. They may be going through the mistakes. So that might be the time that you do something that's a little bit more direct with those 3 emails. The other thing that you can do is set up a marketing asset that's going out on a steady, regular cadence, like with a regular schedule that gives your prospects some insights and some additional value about who you are, what you do, and how they can solve those problems on their own if they choose. Okay. And you want those things to reinforce your credibility and your authority. That can be a podcast, that can be a newsletter, that can be Substack community. It can be a number of things that you set up. But once people come into your system, you've got a 3 email sequence that goes out to them automatically. Boom, boom, boom. And then now that they're there, you have a middle of funnel asset that you continue to share with them, right? You're like basically building a relationship. You're building some trust. You're building that credibility and authority and everything else that helps move them through the buying cycle and nurture them at their convenience. So you're not necessarily being pushy. You're letting your marketing assets help sell for you. That helps educate prospects about what you do, about how to solve their problems, and it improves your chances being in the right place at the right time. Okay. So if you've got a weekly email that goes out on Tuesday, as I do, then what happens is like you're hitting them every Tuesday and there's that constant reminder, and you may like you're increasing that serendipitous shit. Today's the day. Like I've been following Ray for 6 months, for 9 months, for 12 months. Today is the day he hit the right message at the right time. And it can be a great source of creating some additional opportunities from the people that are already in your system. Okay. So we have nurture. Now we have the people that need your service, right? And this is the final piece of the puzzle. And it's the purpose of the funnel at this point to help guide people that are ready to buy to your sales process with the highest likelihood of actually converting. Okay. And your funnel's job at this point is to prompt prospects to take an action, right? Like to book a call, whatever that CTA that you do, whether it's straight to purchase or scheduling like a free consult or a free strategy call, something like that. And then you want it to guide them through that process. And what I mean by that is when somebody says, I'm ready to book a call, you have an opportunity to just use the default Calendly settings, to just use the default reminders, to just do whatever the tech systems allow you to do, or you can make that really intentional. And you can add a questionnaire on the front end when they're booking a call, and some of those questions could be really good questions to help them identify whether like how much pain they're in, how far along in the process are they? Is the problem a problem that you are qualified to solve? Are they in enough pain perhaps to actually be ready to take action, or do they need more marketing assets? Like the questions that you ask on the form when people are booking a call are really good opportunities to qualify people and help, again, guide them through the process, and then make sure that the sales process is actually relevant to them. Because now that you have some answers from them, you can tailor your sales presentation and how you're going to approach things based on them and what their actual needs are. The other thing that your funnel is going to do is it's going to help make sure people show up. Okay. Yes, there are the default reminders and the default prompts. What I typically like to do is make sure that there's at least one SMS message or text message about an hour beforehand. There's at least one email reminder 24 hours beforehand, reminding them about the call. Okay. And that's going to help boost your show rates for the people that actually book a call. And then, what happens is like they're running a business, whatever it is, and they forget about it. You want to have some really intentional messaging that is tied to helping make sure that they show up. The other thing that your funnel can help you do is warm those prospects up once they've booked the call, right? Like you can actually send them intentional content that says, hey, please check this out before our call. Here's a free training. Like, please fill out these things before you hop on a call. Like you can actually help warm your prospects up and get them to consume more content. A buddy of mine has something he calls the 8-hour rule, right? That when people consume 8 hours of content through, social content, podcasts, YouTube videos, whatever it is, when people consume 8 hours of content, they close at a rate of 85% or more, right? Now, you don't have to necessarily get people to consume 8 hours of content, but how can you get them from the time that they book the call with you to the time that they show up? How can you get them to consume more content, to learn more about who you are, to help, again, position you or your business with more authority and more credibility, and educate them on what you do? That's going to be a better sales conversation. So again, at that bottom of funnel stage, when people need your services and they're ready to book a call or start buying your stuff, you want to make sure that you're filtering people out that may not be qualified for what you do. You want to make sure that you're learning about who they are and what their challenges are so that you can prepare for a sales call. You want to have the right reminders and prompts to help make sure that they show up to the call. And probably most importantly, you want to feed them content that helps warm them up by the time that they get to the call with you. Okay. You can do a lot of that with things like a thank you page, like when they book the call. You can say, thanks for booking. Here's a quick video. Here are 3 or 4 things that I'd like to do. You can do that in email reminders. You can do that in, like I mentioned, text reminders. A lot of ways to do it, but you need this function at the bottom of your funnel to ensure that you're optimizing all of the time that you have with sales. Now, just one reminder on this, don't overdo this. People don't want 27 reminders to show up. People don't want to have to do 12 hours of reading before tomorrow to show up to your call. So don't feel like you've got to overdo this, but make sure that all these pieces are intentional. And there you have it. Like, those are the 3 things that you want your marketing funnel to address. You want it to address new people coming into the system, nurturing them through the process. And then when they need your services, help make sure that process is intentional too. Hey, thanks for watching. If you found this helpful on the 3 things that you need in your marketing funnel, you definitely want to check this out.